Well, this is kind of a video I hadn't thought I'd be making, at least not for a very long time, if at all. But I suppose if you've been on, on YouTube and watching videos here for very long, you probably remember that, COPA thing that, was, kind of a big deal, at the end of November and earlier on, this month. Um, Basically, as I understand it, it's one of those things where it has to deal with how YouTube collects information on well, all of its users really, but especially how that pertains to how they do it for kids 13 and younger. Um, Apparently, as I understand it, anyway, what happened? What happened was they got caught collecting a ton of information on everybody. I'll get to this in a minute, but they got caught collecting tons of information on like everybody, right? And that includes all their users, even kids that are you know uh, like 13 and younger, which is as a, again, this is as I understand it anyway, not exactly legal for kids that are really young, like I keep saying 13 and under. So they had to pay some huge fine to the like FCC or FTC, something like that. Um, it's been a while since all this was a big thing, and even then I wasn't exactly as well educated about it as I probably should be. Um, but anyway, the thing of it is they had to pay this really big fine because they caught got caught collecting too much information on everybody really, but especially people they really shouldn't have been. And because of all this, they cut a deal with the U.S. federal government as to how all this would be handled. And now it's up to folks like me to make sure our videos and channels and all that fun stuff are categorized right. So like it's just one of those things where as to like if we're all family friendly or all not or on a per video basis. And it's it affects especially people like me in a bad way because well I have I guess on the blog I'll be talking about in a minute here I said I had like somewhere in the area of 130 videos that I'd have to go through and sort out and try to make sure I had in the right category and all that cool stuff. And well, I actually have a day job that you know, kind of need that I, because I have, gotta buy food and pay rent and, car stuff and, doctor bills and all that kind of, grown up stuff that, that I have to pay for somehow. And like I said, that's a day job. So I don't really have time to, go to sit here and like sort through everything I've got on my channel. And with what I understand now, um, I'm thinking I'm going to have to take, well, maybe not all my videos down, but, a good chunk of them anyway, because, well, there's, a lot of vlogs and, stuff like this that, you know, are probably if I'm gonna get in trouble here, it's from things like this, and I don't necessarily want to, but mentioned my blog before, and I'm going to mention it again here. I'm going to try to put a link to my main page and the one I'm going to mention specifically here, in the description box. But as I understand it, if things, if I screw up how I categorize all this, it's one of those things where I'm going to get hit with like a 42,000 some odd $100 fine, and all sorts of things that I just can't afford to deal with. So certainly all my vlogs and my JM Tries series and coffee time, like this video is intended to be, are probably all gonna have to come down, simply because I don't have time to go through and try to get everything sorted out and hope that I can do it to the satisfaction of YouTube's algorithms, which I've already heard horror stories of it going wrong on Twitter, and there have been channels of people who actually make videos like this for a living. They were all nervous and scared and making videos about the future of whatever channel it was that because it's not a good thing for them before um, and it's one of those things where before too terribly long, I'm going to have to get on with taking down what I'm going to what I need to get taken down, because all this goes into effect at around the first of the year, which is coming up on a little more than, well, I guess it's just under 2 weeks now, but I'm going to have to get on with it, because I just can't afford to take the risk of leaving it up and having to face the fines and whatever else. Now maybe if I'd been doing this professionally and was part of some company, or whatever, that could offer some sort of protection, or if I was 22 instead of 42, I might actually have the balls to try and leave stuff up and continue, but that's not the position I'm in. As it stands, I'm a middle-aged fat guy with a food service job who just can't afford to take the risk to take the kind of risks that go along with this anymore. Now, before I make a final decision on this, I know at least one video out there by supposedly by a professional lawyer anyway, who from what I could have seen so far about this video, it's where he's saying all this might not be as bad as they say. And I'm gonna try to watch that before I actually make any really and truly final decisions. But to get right down to it, I'm gonna have to probably take all this stuff down, because, well, I see. Here's the thing: in real life, when I'm not making videos like this, people tell me I actually take after my, my dad's side of the family, and especially his father, in that he really wasn't, a terribly talkative fella. But something I've noticed about myself is that I'm actually kind of like, his mother too, in that I got this unfortunate habit of, using a lot of swear words without really realizing it or thinking about it. Which is one reason why I want to go through and, pretty much take down all these, you know, vlogs and JM tries and all this other stuff because, well, if I risk leaving it up, I, risk, leaving up videos that have swear words I didn't even realize they used when I was making the video, and yeah, I just can't afford to, make that kind of mistake or take that risk. Now there's some stuff I might wind up leaving up, but that's to be determined as I go through all this and learn more about it. And all that said, I might be back again someday. But YouTube and Google are going to have to, get themselves all sorted out because, well, I know there are other platforms out there, but but from what I understand, I either have to pay to use them, which is something I really can't afford to do, or they're the kind of platforms that I'm not comfortable with my work being on. So I'm not going to be doing them either. So, as it stands, a lot of stuff's coming down. From my channel, it's going to be off the web, and I'm just going to be doing written stuff. A lot more, which is why I'm going to try to remember. I'm going to say this again, mostly for my own benefit, that I'm going to put links to my main blog and the relevant post in the video description. Because that's where my written stuff is going to be for probably quite a while, has been for a while, and I'm intending to keep up with that anyway. And, it's actually an unfortunate thing because I had plans and ideas for, videos I wanted to do that, well, I'm not, not necessarily saying they won't happen, but they're just not going to happen anytime soon now because, well, like I said, I just can't take the risk of making videos anymore. And it's it's unfortunate for a lot of reasons because I don't want to quit necessarily, and I just got up to 30 subscribers. I mean, that's, yeah, 30 subscribers, which is actually quite a lot more than I thought I'd ever have, and I'm proud of myself for that, which just makes it suck even more that I have to take all of this down because I'm assuming people are coming to watch like this video here, and I don't want to ruin it for, like, I just got 30 subscribers here, up to 30 within the last couple of weeks. Certainly, I think certainly since the end of November anyway. I don't want to wind up taking away the content that most of those subscribers came for, but like I keep saying, I can't afford a $40,000+ fine because, well, like I say in the blog, I'm gonna link to the specific post I'm gonna link to. That's like 2+ years worth. It's two and a half, 3 years worth of my entire income for like 2.5, 3 years, and that's just not something I can afford to spend potentially the rest of my life paying off. So and I'm sure this lawyer video I mentioned before is gonna say that it'll all this is gonna wind up in court, and they'll do test cases, and YouTube and Google might actually be forced to change their current policy because of it. Unfortunately, to further probably belabor this point, I can't afford to be one of the test cases. You know, so yeah, I mean, a lot of the content I'm sure people are subscribing for is just going to have to come down whether I want it to or not. And I want to apologize to all the people that have subscribed to watch me sit here and yammer at the camera for you know however long. And I mean, if that's what you're subscribing for, I appreciate that. I'm glad you did. This is kind of a dream thing for me that I actually have people who are interested in this and want to watch. And I like that. But I'm gonna have to go back to writing more seriously. Because that's kind of a dream for me too. And you'll notice I'm mentioning dreams an awful lot because it's time to talk about the mug I was waving around before. This is something I picked up on that vacation that I talked about in the last couple coffee time videos that I did. It's I picked this one up at the Crazy Horse Monument out in it's I forget exactly what part of the hills, but it's in the Black Hills here in South Dakota. It's actually a very nice mug, different color than I thought it would be. It's not exactly the one I remembered getting, but it's still a good one because on the one side here it's got a picture of the guy who started it, Korzak Zukowski, and a quote from him that says, "Never forget your dreams," which is good advice. I would, very much like to remember the dream of doing this and being a writer, full time, which, I have remembered that for actually quite a lot of my life. And then on the other side is a quote from his wife that says, dreams do come true, which, I mean, I guess in a way they have for me because I'm doing this and I'm writing my blog and, have been for quite a while. And, I've gotten farther with it than I, you know, had expected or thought I would. And, if I keep in mind that I remember what my dreams are and that they do some kind times come true, maybe I'll actually continue getting somewhere with it and actually be able to get paid for all this silliness. But in order to do that, I kind of need to focus on something. And uh, you know maybe if I'm not worried about trying to make these stupid little videos so much anymore, I can actually get back to doing the whole writing thing and get somewhere with that. You know, um, but I mean, uh, when I said I had plans, one thing that actually works out here is that on the written version of this, I'm going to post a link to. I got a comment from the internet buddy saying he wasn't so much a coffee guy, but he liked like hot cocoa and eggnog, that kind of thing. Well, I like I said, I had plans for the channel, and the series of hot cocoa videos was, for JM Tries was one of them. And in fact, I have stuff in my kitchen, to that effect that I've actually had in there long enough to forget at least twice. Uh, you know, and it's really too bad I'm not going to be able to do video versions of that because, well, this whole YouTube mess is one that I just don't have time to deal with properly. And another thing I had intended to, maybe make a video about was, Yeah, another thing I picked up at the Crazy Horse Monument when I was on vacation. It's this supposedly Native American herbal tea kind of thing that's supposed to help you sleep, which is kind of a thing for me. I might have done a video about this if I could have. Talk about how it tastes like, how well it actually works. But now that I have to, maybe do something written instead, maybe that'll work out better. So we'll have to, just wait and see how all that goes. And yeah, I mean, in spite of what's going on here, this is not necessarily goodbye forever from YouTube. I might come back if and when all this gets, sorted out more favorably for especially small content providers like me. But until then, a lot of my videos are gonna have to come down, and I doubt I'll be making any for a while because, well, even if this does wind up in court to make it happen, I can't really afford to be one of the test cases for that. So, here in the near future, a lot of my stuff's going to be coming down, much as I'd rather not have to be that way about it. It's, just for my own good. And like I said, I'm going to have to, maybe educate myself a little better before I do make any final decisions. But, for now, a lot of the stuff people are here for is going to be coming down. But like I said, I will still be around as a text blogger, which again I'm intending to put in the link below. Uh, and I will see you there with hopefully more regular updates than I've been doing here. So until I can get on there, with written updates, and I've got my text play series there. Um, I might do written food and drink reviews. Um, all sorts of interesting stuff. So I'll see you there, and thanks for all the support and views over the years. It means a lot more to me than I've ever said and ever really can. So until later, this is probably the last video you're gonna see from me for, well, hopefully not forever, but probably for quite a while. So until we meet again, thanks for the views, and I hope you continue to follow me as a writer. So until later, I'll see you when I see you. Thanks for everything. Bye.